Welcome to the Elevating Leaders series, where we go beyond the headlines and straight to the people who are redefining insurtech and business transformation. We've caught up with the visionaries and the pioneers that are currently driving the industry forward, bringing you exclusive insights, strategies, and stories you won't hear anywhere else. If you're ready to go deeper, this is your front row seat to the future of insurance. I'm Miguel Edwards, and this is 5 Minutes. You and I have kind of shared a little bit of some career in distribution, and one of the things that I've been tracking is, there's a confluence of issues. We've got this kind of consolidation of distribution. The aggregators are coming and scooping up all the independents, and then we've got a talent crisis kind of writ large in the industry. What kind of challenges are you seeing from your perspective on distribution, and what are you doing about it if you're seeing them?
So, my history, and it's coming up on 30 years within insurance, but most of that has been within the program space. Mm-hmm. My observations have always been that the best programs, or MGAs, are ones that identify underserved or misunderstood classes of business. And that sort of drives, in a lot of cases, the distribution. Mm-hmm. In our case, we're very focused on identifying producers who understand this class of business, understand their clients, and have that business and control that in a way that is going to support us. So we're not shotgunning. We're being very deliberative about who we work with, and we're looking to build deep relationships with us. For us, that's a recipe for success. But for other product lines, other MGAs, it may be straight. If it's straight through process, then go out and open it up as wide as you can. Right. But for us, we're heavily, it's a very much a product and a class of business that needs to be underwritten. So we need to be able to bring efficiencies to the underwriter, but also work with producers who know this business. Yeah. That's got to be a pretty laser niche market, though, I'm assuming, in terms of the producers that work in that space. Well, there's virtually every agency or brokerage has multifamily in it. What we're looking for is aggregation. And we've identified already, producers that you wouldn't necessarily even know, but this is what they've specialized. There's also an opportunity within the nationals and the super regionals who control a ton of this business. But what we know is it's not every office. Right. It's those particular producers, those particular offices. That's why having a really experienced sales and distribution team in there who already have relationships, understand who they should be working with, who we should be working with, who we shouldn't be working with. Right. Clearly, that for us is the recipe for success. So you can go have a conversation at the SIA level and then find out where to go from there. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's more efficient for you as well. Yeah, and it's in those cases in the large organizations. It may be if the submissions are going to come in, they need to go through a particular group that understands this business, because our underwriters need to be able to have that conversation and get the right answer first time. Got it. Makes good sense. So I want to go back now to data. I put a pin in that one, and I was trying to remember to make sure I didn't forget it. So data, and we can't talk about data, and we can't be at ITC without talking about AI. Yeah. So where does AI plug into your thought process and your innovation model as you think about going forward? So going back to really what I've been focused on investing this year and going forward is the operational platform, bringing efficiencies across the entire operational platform so that we're delivering better margins back to our investors, but also to how do we assess risk coming in. So I'll give you a couple of different examples especially around the RevOp project that we've been working with RevUp, is identifying those areas where it's processes or activities that just have to be done. Submission intake, being able to assess, elements out of an SOV, a statement of values, being able to apply AI, and those technologies have been developed for a while. Sure. Our senior tech advisor, Ron Glossman, had a startup that literally was looking at that, had a successful exit, but that's work that he did. We're leveraging his knowledge to be able to bring in those efficiencies. Now, on the backside, in terms of leveraging for assessment and being able to continue to develop models. We're going to look to leverage AI to be able to deliver different models that'll assess different risk aspects of the exposures that we're looking at. So maybe it's equipment breakdown. Maybe it's what is the relationship between this unique data set that we have or that we found, and does that correlate back to the actual loss ratio that we're going to impact? And those are the relationships that AI is only going to be able to drive.
Sure.
We're not going to be able to make those connections.
Right.
So
not at speed or scale.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're actively looking at developing new models that are leveraging both existing and future AI models that are out there. I'd also say that there's an opportunity to be able to leverage AI to be able to create a better customer experience. And I talk about, most people, these are my insureds or whatnot. They're our customers.
Sure.
How do we deliver value back to them? Giving them insights, being able to ask them. You look at large language models and the ability to go in off of our own data, be able to go in and have them query and ask natural language questions. Hey, what's going on over here? What's going on this particular property? And being able to return a response.
Sure.
That's delivering value back to our customers.
Yeah. Have you introduced IoT at all into the construct?
So, I've looked at and worked with IoT for a long time, dating back to Zurich days, the first emergence of telematics, which is the proving ground.
Sure.
The use case that is pervasive in the industry, but there's a ton more of opportunities as the cost of the sensors go down.
Yes.
Which has always been the challenge. It's also the challenge of what does it take to actually put and install that.
Right.
Water leak detection, water shutoff.
Right.
4 or 5 years ago, you had to cut a pipe, put in a piece of device.
Right.
You're not going to get anybody to do that.
Right.
But now you've got sensors that cost $1 that can sense the pH value levels of a pool or detect humidity or temperature changes, which may create a freezing. Deploying those, we're actively looking at how do we bring those technologies and blend them into the operational data that we're using for our SRI to drive additional insights that we can leverage for better risk selection and pricing.
Thank you for joining this episode of 5 Minutes. If you've enjoyed our discussion, we'd love for you to share it with anyone else you think might find it interesting. Also, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening on and hit that bell to stay on top of the game with our practical 5-minute episodes. We look forward to seeing you again next week.